from back on that first drive there. Really explosive, couple of nice runs during the goal line. Just kind of curious what you thought from him on Sunday and how he's kind of holding up with the knee brace and how that thing's holding up through 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, he's been so solid for us, and I think I talked about it even going back to last year. I thought it was really big for him to to miss all those games and then still come back at the end of the year and play for us, and have that want to or that willingness to come back in the situation that we had. So he's kind of come back. He still works on that knee every day. He's got a lot of a lot of rehab and a lot of just basically maintenance that we have to do to take care of it. He wears the knee brace all the time. And I mean, he's never said a word. He comes to work, he works hard. And we just really love the mentality that he's having for us right now, that he's bringing, both just, in fighting through the stuff that he's got going on with his knee. But, then like, as you mentioned, the first couple drives there with him getting in and really some tough yards that he was able to gain for us. He did a nice job.
Thank you.
Go Chris next.
Hey, Daryl, thanks for the time. I just had a couple of quick ones, actually. One was kind of a follow-up on Matthew, because he was telling us after the game about the pick six, and it sounded like he had the right read on the blitz or knew where he was supposed to be going with the ball. I was just kind of curious, going back over that, if that's where it was supposed to be to Amendola out there, or if he was supposed to be looking somewhere else when that blitz came at him.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first thing is we got to take care of protection, and they did have pressure, but there's other responsibilities going on. I don't want to put it on any one guy, but we have to have 11 guys working together, and if you don't have that, then that can cause problems. So we had a problem. We had a little bit of a problem with the protection, and then he has to get rid of it sooner than he needed to. And he put it out in the flat to Danny. There was also, I think you can see if you watch the clip, you can see Marv inside that was in a good spot and in good air right there. But with what we had going on with the protection, we weren't able to get to that.
And then the other thing was, I'm pretty sure we asked you this last week, but Chicago really tried to take away the deep game from you. It seemed like Green Bay did some of those things as well. I know you had 1 or 2 opportunities downfield, but probably not as many as maybe you'd like or we saw last year. Just wondering how you open those back up with or without Kenny in the lineup.
Yeah, they are definitely legislating against that, and that's our job to to continue to look down the field. But if we don't have it, bring the ball underneath and check it down, which I think we've been doing. But the first thing I think will always help us is run the ball. That way they've got to bring extra safeties down in the box and give us some better looks. They're still with blanket coverage. There are opportunities to take shots down the field, and we'll continue to try to find ways to get those.
Thank you.
Kyle.
Hey, Daryl. You guys have gotten some good early performances from the offensive line. And Jonah Jackson especially seems like he took a nice little leap there in week 2. I'm just curious what you've seen from the rookies so far up front.
Yeah, I mean, Jonah's done a nice job. He's come in since day one, and he kind of worked his way. He wasn't really handed to him. He kind of worked his way into the spot. We thought we had something in Jonah, and I think you're starting to see it. He's a physical player, but he's also super athletic. So he's done a nice job of fitting in there. He's got good leaders and guys to communicate with him, veteran players that are next to him. So I think that helps him. But I think really when I look back at it in training camp, I think one of the big bonuses for him was going up against, Nick Williams every day. I mean, that guy's is a big human, and, he's got good speed. He's got good moves. He's got good power. So I think that battle, if you went through the first day of training camp to by the time we got to the end of training camp, I think Nick made him a better football player and, kind of showed him what the NFL is all about. I think that started to help him there. And as you said, he has held his own in the first couple of weeks.
And we haven't seen Stenberg yet, but I'm just curious an update on where he's at with you. Thanks,
he's coming along. He was in a different place, and a little bit different style than Jonah, but he's gotten better. He had, we did the same thing with him. We moved him to center, we moved him to guard, kind of working some of those spots, and he's settling in at guard. And I think the longer we leave him there and the more he's able to work on his technique, I think he's going to be a good player for us.
We got 2 more, Justin, then Rod.
Hey, Daryl, good to see you. Such a hot start in Green Bay. I don't know if it could have been much better with 2 long touchdown drives. Then things went pretty cold. I'm just wondering, what's the difficulty in balancing, I guess, a scripted offense versus adjusting in game? I realize it's just one game, but what are the challenges there?
I don't know. Maybe at the beginning there's some, the defense is kind of waiting to see what you're going to do, and they're reacting to this, a little bit to the script. I just thought we just had a really good mix of run and pass early in the game. There was some easy completions. There was a couple opportunities, like the second play, we're able to get Hawk down the field for an explosive play. And then we really, when you think about the third drive, I think at that point there was the whatever it was, the last third down that we had before the penalty was a 3rd and 10 that we converted. And that was like 5 for 5 on third down. So we had a good mix, run pass. Even on the third drive, we're off the script on that one. And, we're at midfield, convert a 3rd and 10. Then we throw the bubble, we get tackled for 0, but we get the late penalty. So now it's a 3rd and 25 rather than a 3rd and 10. I think that would have made a big difference. And then, then the very next drive is the backed up 2-minute drive, which, we didn't handle that very well. So, so I think that as far as the script goes, we were off the script and we were moving it well. Then we just, we got out of sorts there for a minute. And then we were finally able to get it going again, I think it was an 8-play drive or something together, and had good mix in that one as well, I think. So, we're at our best when we're able to mix the run and the pass, and we're able to get tempo, that we can get on the ball, that we can move, and there's not, we're not stagnant, and we got to continue to work to do that.
And I just wanted to ask you quickly on your philosophy of motion. You guys are using it a little bit less than almost anybody in the league. I know everybody uses it to various degrees. In your scheme, what is the importance of motion, and maybe why don't you see the value in it that maybe some other offensive coordinators do?
I don't know how much our percentage is. I mean, we do use it, and most of the time you're using it to either set up things or gather information, from the defense. We try to make sure that we're using the motions on runs and passes. Sometimes you can get predictable that way. So we're trying to make sure we do that, in both those situations. But I don't know, Justin, I haven't checked the percentages, so I don't know exactly where that falls.
All right, Rod, last question.
Hey, Daryl, 2 questions for you. Again, thanks for doing this. But the first question is, there was some talk about Jesse James and trying to get the tight ends a little bit more involved in the offense. Is there any reason, and I know it's only 2 games, that he hasn't been a little bit more involved?
Well, yeah, I mean, the one thing I can say is, we're trying to get everybody involved, to be quite honest with you. We had plays that were designed for him in that game. And, the way that the defense played it, the way that they adjusted to it, the read took the quarterback elsewhere and, kind of through the progression. So,
Sure.
we're going to continue to read it and take what the defense gives us. But absolutely, I said it, I talked to Jesse in the offseason, as well, wanted to make sure that he knew that, I want to make sure that he's involved with us in the offense. Got to get him involved, really everywhere, red zone included. And we'll continue to find ways to try to do that.
And that kind of answers part of the second question too, is without Kenny, how much of the offense have you been able to really move into this year that you haven't had with that deep threat that Kenny provides? Yeah,
I mean, obviously it hurts when you're losing one of your best guys, so, hopefully we'll be able to get him back this week. We'll see how it shakes out during the week of practice, once he's able to get back out with us on offense. I don't know when that is, but we'll see. Hopefully it's this week. But it adds a different dimension. I mean, it totally changes, the way that the defense looks at you, when all of a sudden you have Kenny and Marv and TJ, and Danny and those guys and all those pieces working together. I think it gives you different things that you're able to do.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, Rod.
Thanks, Bev. Thanks, everybody. We'll be up next with Corey.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Daryl.
Thanks, Daryl.
149 rushing yards by Chicago, last week, 259 by the Bears. I know that probably doesn't sit very well with you. Just what's been the most disappointing part about the way you guys have defended the run these first 2 weeks?
Yeah, I don't think that's sat with anybody, myself, the players, anybody very well. That's a true statement. I think that's an obvious statement. Got to do a better job coaching it. And we got to do a better job executing it. That's it. We could go round and round and talk about what's disappointing or what I saw. It doesn't really matter at this point. It's my job to get in the meeting room, point it out. It's my job to get the players to believe in it and go out and execute it better. I got to do a better job coaching. We got to do a better job playing. And I would leave it at that. But yeah, we're going to move forward and we're going to get it fixed. No panic right now in our room with any position group. We all are aware of the fact that we haven't played great in the first 2 weeks, and we're 0-2. So you can point to anything you want. We're 0-2 right now. Starts with me, and our goal is to get it fixed this week, and we're going to do everything we can starting tomorrow to get that fixed.
Thanks, Corey.
Yep.
Kyle?
Afternoon, Corey.
How you doing?
Good. I got two questions for you.
Go ahead.
One is on the struggles you guys have had protecting leads, and that goes way back to before you even got here. But first 2 games, double-digit leads. It's it's a big storyline for the season so far. Can you speak on the defense's role in that inability so far to hang on to leads?
Yeah, well, obvious statement again. We're 0-2, and we got to find a way. I think Reggie Ragland yesterday had a great quote and just said, "Hey, man, everything right now is from the neck up." We've got really good players on this team. I'm specifically obviously talking about the defense. I said it the first week. I'm going to say it last week. I say it right now. I have nothing but total belief in these guys. And we got to come back to work and go through, regardless of our record right now, and find a way to get through that. Matt's been talking about the ebbs and flow of the game. We just got to focus on one play at a time. Doesn't matter what the score is. We'd be down 14, be up 14. Doesn't matter. The focus and the energy needs to go into the next play, no matter what the call is, no matter what the personnel is on the field, what they got, and do our best to execute that. And again, it starts with me. So we're gonna continue to strive on that this week. We're gonna have a great week of practice, and we're gonna go out there and do everything we can to help this team win.
And I wanted to ask you specifically about the pass, the pass rush. That's something we talked about last week, and the importance of pressure on Rodgers.
Yep.
The quarterback hits in that game, none in the first half. Can you speak on the struggles you guys have had generating a rush? I know Rodgers is a difficult guy to hit, but can you speak to the struggles you guys have had the first 2 weeks there?
Yeah, I would start with the fact that each quarterback presents a different challenge. Some guys it's really hard to get there, and the emphasis for that quarterback is not necessarily to try to blitz him or hit him. You obviously want to put pressure on him, put the clock on him. Each guy is different. This guy this week is different. This guy this week is going to be a challenge as well. So you got to put a scheme together. I got to put a scheme together that's going to allow all 3 phases of the defense, the front, the linebackers, and the secondary to be successful. And whatever that plan is, what it's going to be, then we got to do the best we can to execute it. But I think every plan's different. Every quarterback's different. You're going to attack every guy different. You're going to play different coverages on different situations, first down, second down, third down. And sometimes, pressures might not get there on time. If it's 3rd and 2, it doesn't matter what you do. You could blitz the entire defense and the ball's going to come out. You guys know that. So all the situations are different, and we just got to tie them all together. So, like I said last week, rushing coverage, it all works together. Good coverage, good pass rush, and vice versa. So we'll keep focusing on that and see if we can get better there.
Thank you, Corey.
You got it.
Justin?
Hey, Corey, always grateful for the time. You've mentioned already the obviousness of the last 5 quarters and the struggles there. I'm more curious about going forward. I want to know how you are planning on approaching this week, the first thing that you're going to attack, and how you go about correcting these struggles going forward.
Yeah, good question, Justin. I would say we already met with the defense yesterday, saw them all, Zoom and all that. And I would say my attack and my vision for these guys is always the same. I believe in them. We have good players. I don't have any doubt. Have we played the best we can play? Obviously not. We're 0-2. All right, but at this point right now, coming up to the third game. We have 14. Is that right? We have 14 games left. All right. So let's not panic. All right. Let's not forget that we haven't played great. I haven't coached good enough. Let's not forget that. And let's come in on Wednesday morning with the mindset that regardless if we were 0-2, 1-1, or 2-0, that we are going to go forward and we're going to focus on Wednesday and we're going to get the game plan in and we're going to go out and practice and be the best that we can tomorrow. That's it. That's the only thing we can worry about. Can't worry about the last two games. Right now, we're playing a really, really good Arizona team. Cliff's got these guys playing at a high level, the quarterback, the wideouts, the running backs, the O-line. I mean, you point at every guy. So we got a challenge this week, and our focus right now, and we got blinders on. I'm not going to look to the left. I'm not looking to the right. I'm looking straight ahead, and straight ahead right now is Wednesday morning meeting, Wednesday morning practice, Wednesday afternoon meetings, and then we'll go to Thursday. That's it. Nothing else.
And you spoke to the message Matt had coming directly out of the last game and the waves of the game and making sure you're not riding the ebbs and flows. Are you surprised at all at this roster's, I guess, inability to avoid the too high and too low mentality through these first two games, and why you quite haven't found that equilibrium yet?
Yeah, I can't answer that. But what I know is that we're going to come in and go to work. I mean, I could go around and probably try to figure out or give you some kind of assumption on what it is. I'm not sure any of us know what it is, or we wouldn't be in our situation. So I'm not trying to go around that question. I get the question, but again, that stuff is in the past, and we're looking forward, and we're going to get together right now tomorrow, and we're going to prepare and have the best Wednesday practice we've had this far this season, and then we'll see where it goes.
Thank you, Corey.
Yeah, you got it.
Michael?
Yeah. Hey, Corey. I'm just gonna ask this pretty directly. Why do you feel Will Harris maybe has been a better fit for some of what you all do than Tracy Walker?
Yeah, I would say Will and Tracy are both really good players, and we're trying to utilize them both in different packages. I don't know how to. I'm not going to get into the specifics of each package, but we like both of them, and I like both of them. They're trusted with their teammates. Again, they're 0-2 just like everybody else is, so they have not played the best. I got to coach those two guys better, put them in better spots, get them to believe in themselves just like everybody else. But I don't question either one of them. I would say this, it's a really good problem to have when you have three safeties back there that you completely trust and depend on. And then what you got to do is put them out there in packages or rotate them so that they all can play and help you win. And that's what we're trying to do. And obviously it hasn't been perfect to this part right now. I got to do a better job with those guys as well. But they're both going to play. All three of those guys are going to play. You guys know that. You've seen it. You can do the play count. And yeah, I think a lot of people get hung up on who actually started the game, who didn't. But if you look at their play count, they're both out there almost. I mean, I can't remember the exact play count for both guys, but I know they're out there a lot, and they will continue to be out there a lot, both of them, no matter what their role is.
What for you also is maybe through the first 2 weeks calling plays been the biggest struggle for you?
Yeah, we're 0-2, so I got to do a better job. I got to do a better job calling better plays. Hindsight's I was 2020. When you look back, I could do this, I could have done that, but I was reminded by the players that, hey, you call it, we're going to execute it. And then I told them I'm going to do a better job trying to put you in better spots. With calls, I'm not going to go through them all. But I don't think I've had a problem. I don't feel like I've had a problem. The game plan has been what it is. We sign off on it, and the players go out and do the best job they can to execute it. Now, it hasn't been great, so I'll try to do a better job with that as far as the game plan goes, but calling it hasn't been an issue.
Thanks.
Yep.
So two more, Dave, then Jen.
Corey, always good to see you. Two quick things for you. One, you mentioned Kyler Murray earlier, just sort of referenced him. I mean, I don't know how many quarterbacks in the NFL can do some of the things that he does, but what sort of challenge does he present for your defense? Why is he so special?
Yeah. He's obviously a dynamic player. I mean, they're 3rd and 17 last week or the week before, getting the games mixed up right now, trying to watch all this stuff. And, he's running for first downs for 22 yards on 3rd and 17 when you got it covered. So Guy's dynamic, man. He's fast, change direction, makes guys miss. Not to mention the zone read stuff. So you got to be good on all that, making sure all your gaps. You got to have somebody for the quarterback. You got to have somebody for the dive. I mean, the one thing I liked about coaching the league is you didn't have to worry about playing Texas Tech. Well, we're playing them. So we got to be good. You got to be sound and all that stuff. And then not to mention the tempo. I mean, obviously we played them last year, week 1. I think they're a completely different team on a completely different level, faster, more efficient. I think the quarterback's obviously more comfortable year 2. And right now, watching them through the first 2 games, they're playing at a high level, and we got our hands full. And we're going to put a plan together, and we'll see if we can go out there and find a way to win it.
Texas Tech with NFL players. I like that reference. The other thing I wanted to ask you about was just very into the first half. Jeff Okudah last week, you played him 2 snaps on the right side, lined him up against Devontae Adams, if I'm not mistaken. I think he played left corner the entire rest of the game. Maybe this is too X and OE, but can you just explain what you were trying to do with those 2 snaps, why you moved him over there, if that speaks at all to the trust?
That would be a complete coverage situation, and it probably could have happened more, but the formation didn't present itself that way. So all depends on the call, the situation of the game. Like you said, I'm not going to get into details of that and try to explain to you how he does that. But depending on the formation and how they get lined up in that formation, whether he goes over or stays is all based on the call and the game plan. So that's it.
Does it speak at all to the confidence you have in a rookie to put him? I know he had the safety shaded over to his side, but to put him on Devontae in that key situation.
Yeah. I would say this, if you out there on the field for us on defense, then we have complete and utter confidence in you. If we didn't, I wouldn't put you out there. I wouldn't put him in that situation. So that goes for any spot, whether you play D tackle, DN, linebacker, safety, corner. If you out there, then we have complete and utter confidence in you. So yeah, no problem with that.
Thank you.
You got it.
All right, Jen, last one.
Hey, Corey. One of my questions pertains to something that Reggie Ragland said to us yesterday, that this is kind of feels like an issue on the defense.
Yeah, I saw that. Mm-hmm.
How do you attack coaching kind of a mentality for your team when it's only been 2 games, and how challenging is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a challenge when, you guys, the question's been raised obviously a few times already. When you get up in games and you can't finish them off, you have to deal with that. For me personally, as a coach, you do everything you can to put your belief in the players so that they know that you believe in them. And then you go into the meeting room and you tell them again, and then you present a game plan that they believe in and that they believe that they have a chance to go out and win the game. And if we can execute it, that's a goal. I mean, there's no more psychology, I think, that goes into it more than that for me. We're playing a game. Every guy's got a role, and every single call, nobody takes it down off, and you got to get them to believe in that. So that's my task. And then, however the game unfolds early, whether it be early or late, then, we got to get to the point where we can just focus on every snap and not worry about what the outcome of the game is, which is what Matt's been talking about. And, again, like I said earlier, I have nothing but complete and utter confidence in these guys that that's going to happen. And hopefully we're working right now, players, coaches, everybody in this building, to make it happen very soon. So that's it. Jen, I don't have anything more than that, but got good players in here. We got good men in here, and we're going to keep attacking it and do everything we can to get better. So
one quick follow-up. What is, other than the fact that you guys are 0-2, what's the biggest disappointment about what this defense has not been able to do as far as execution? And you spoke to obviously not being able to stop the run early on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, those are 2 obvious ones. I would say the biggest thing for me right now in this game, early, no preseason, no training camp, no preseason, no games, no off season. We talk about the turnover ratio all the time, and the stats are what they are. If you're on the plus side, your odds of winning the game are drastically higher. So for me, there's a lot of things obviously we can do better, that I could coach better. But when you come out of 2 games without any turnovers, and we had opportunities, obviously, as you know, in the first game, didn't really have one there yesterday. So we got to continue to focus on that. And that obviously helps our team win. And that's our job, is to help this team win however we can do it. So I would say the only disappointment right now is just the lack of the turnovers that we haven't been able to get. So we'll focus on that the next 3 days and see if we can turn that around this weekend.
Thank you so much.
You got it, Jim.
Thanks, Corey. Thanks,
Got
everybody.
it.
We'll be back
Thanks,
with
guys.
Brady in a second.
Thank you, Corey.
Thanks, Corey. Appreciate your time.
And giving up 25-yard returns. You know, it's the ultimate determining factor in how successful your punter is, how successful your punt team is the field position gained, which is obviously the net punting. So definitely something we talk about all the time in every phase here is it takes 11. Just like in the return game, if you have 10 guys who do their job and one guy who doesn't, there's a chance that, you know, you don't make a very good play. So punting is the same thing. Jack obviously is he's, kicking the crap out of the ball. He's doing a great job in that phase. But, we also got, we got D and Tony out there playing gunner, doing a great job. We got guys like, Jelani and Cheese that are playing 50 reps a game on defense, and Cheese goes down and, drops a boom on the returner on the last punt there. So it really is a team thing. Everybody's doing a good job in that phase right now, but, listen, we're 2 weeks in. And we just got to stick with it every single week and make sure that there's no let up. League rankings and stuff aren't something we worry a whole lot about, but those are numbers that can all be ruined with one single play. So we just really got to stick with it and keep going. But yeah, Jack really punted well the other day.
Yeah, as you said, he kicked the crap out of the ball. Was he practicing this way all throughout the offseason, or was this kind of a growth to what we've seen from him in the first 2 weeks?
Sure. So he was here, really before I was. So I kind of came into the situation, knowing that, Sam was a free agent and we had no idea really where that was going to go. But just I had a little bit of familiarity with Jack, coming out a year ago from Rice. We did background on him in Cincinnati. And then I think they were really impressed with him here. They had, whatever it was, 6 weeks with him. And I think he showed really well. So I think there was a lot of confidence there to give him some opportunity going into the spring. And then, everything was virtual. So constant communication, FaceTime, Zoom, whatever. Him sending me videos, me, trying to give him feedback and trying to ask him to try some different things, some things that I knew we were going to want to do that would fit in well with our system. He's got a lot of natural ability, God-given leg talent. He's got a live leg, certainly a lot of ability that's just, he was born with that I can't take any credit for whatsoever. I think what we try to develop and the main goals for us this offseason were just consistency, making sure that it was every time and not, out of 5 punts, 4 60-yarders and a 30-yarder. So that was a big deal, and he made major strides. And I think the other area that he worked on from a technical standpoint was just his operation time. I think coming out of college, that was probably the biggest question for me, at least personally, was just, making sure that he was getting it off in time. It doesn't do you any good to hit 65-yard punts in practice if you go out there and they're going to get blocked when it's real football. So he spent a lot of time and effort speeding that up to get it to a point where it was acceptable. And I think, now that he's kind of gotten comfortable with all the rest of that stuff, now he can just go punt, and you guys are starting to see what he can do when he's able to do that.
Just one quick follow-up from me, if I may. You kind of touched on it there, but I'm just curious what you saw on film from Jack when you watched the film from when he was at Rice.
Yeah, just some of the same stuff. Just a really alive leg, ability to hit for distance and hang time. But just the college game, you guys watch college football. It's just a totally different play, the punt play. There's a lot less pressure. There's a lot more of the rollout punts and things like that. Not that he was necessarily doing a ton of that at Rice, but it just the main thing, like I said, was being able to do it under pressure and in enough of a quick enough pace to where I wasn't worried about it getting blocked. And like I said, he's done that, and we'll see where it goes from here.
Really appreciate it.
Yep, sure.
Justin?
Hey, Braden, good to see you. Thank you for the time as always.
Sure. Thanks, Justin.
Sorry to keep this to be a Jack Fox party, but I'm just curious when you see the performance like that the first 2 games. We always hear can never be perfect. Where do you see room for improvement for him based on just these 2 games of film? Where do you want to see Jack get better?
Yeah, I think the first game, he'd like to have that last punt back, but to be honest with you, this past week in the punt phase, I mean, that was damn near a perfect performance. Having said that, punting is really 1/3 of his job. Obviously he's the holder, and he does kickoffs for us as well. And in both of those phases, he could have been better Sunday. He'd be the first one to tell you that. So that's really where I guess areas for improvement. And then again, he's punted for 2 games. So I think we all need to just take a deep breath. I'm really happy with what he's done. But 2 games does not a career make, right? So he's got to continue to go out there and do it on a week in, week out basis. We're pretty demanding what we ask of our specialists here. We expect perfection, and there's 10 other guys that are depending on him when it comes to kickoff and field goal as well. So I'm going to stay on him with that. I think all the guys in my rooms would tell you that we have high standards, and we're not really big on patting ourselves in the back, especially sitting here at 0-2 right now. there's not a whole lot of reason, in my opinion, for us to be proud of ourselves or happy with ourselves right now. So with Jack and with everybody else that plays special teams for us, it's really about how can we continue to get better. And he knows that, and he feels the same way. He's got high expectations for himself, just like I have for him.
And from rookie to proven vet, you made it very clear how you feel about Matt Prater last week. He's got 2 misses this year, and they're from 55 and 57 yards. It doesn't matter how good you are. Those are kind of 50-50 balls for most kickers. I'm curious, how hard is he taking those 2 misses? And I guess, how are you seeing him respond to, those 2 difficult, wide rights?
Sure. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to talk to Matt or not since the game, but I would just tell you that he's probably 2 or 3 times hard on himself as I am on him. He's a perfectionist. He expects to make every single kick that he attempts, whether it's 30 yards, 55 yards, or 65 yards. That's just his mindset. He goes out there and he wants to make the kick. I mean, he wanted to kick the ball before we had the penalty, and it was going to be 62. And I'm sure he would have been pissed if he would have missed from 62. That's just the way he's wired. He's a competitor. He's no different than any of the rest of these guys. So he's frustrated with himself. I don't think he's discouraged. I think he knows that his number is going to continue to be called. I don't feel any differently about him than I did 2 weeks ago. So those are 2 tough kicks, especially this past week. The conditions weren't great and everything else wasn't perfect. But Matt would be the first one to tell you he expects to make it, and he's frustrated that he didn't. I think he's probably just antsy to get to Sunday and hopeful that he gets an opportunity to go hit the next one and go bang it through.
You did mention the 62-yard situation. I know those are game-to-game conditions and all that playing a factor. Was there a reason you didn't consider at that point, or was the offsides a designed hope to get it a little closer?
Sure. Not going to get into the strategy of it there. Those are discussions that we always have together as a staff, and Coach Patricia ultimately makes the decision as we're talking through all of that. But there's always going to be different ways to approach those situations to try to give yourselves the best opportunity that you can. And we're always going to take the road that we think is the best path to success for us.
Thank you, Braden.
Chris, last one.
Hey, Braden, thanks for the time. You just said you weren't going to reveal strategy, so this might be a quick answer from you. I think the Packers had 7 touchbacks on kickoff Sunday. I was just kind of curious what the philosophy is for when you decide to, let a guy take one of those out, especially, there was the one right before the half that was a touchback before Prater's missed field goal. Just wondering, who makes that call, or if there's a line somewhere in the end zone where you tell it, just let go.
Yeah, it's that's a week to week decision, kind of part of the game plan. It's hard to pinpoint any 1 or 2 factors. We talk all the time about complementary football, and I think our job as a special teams unit, and all 6 phases, it changes week to week based on whatever gives our team the best chance to win. So the first thing you take into consideration is how we feel about our kickoff return team versus the opposing kickoff team, obviously. But then you also take into consideration, well, how do we feel about our offense against the opposing defense? It's all about where we have the most advantages, and so there's a lot of different variables that go into the game plan. You kind of go into the game with a line in mind, and then throughout the course of the game, different situations in the game, you'll adjust that line. We have a lot of confidence in our returner. We know he has a chance to impact the game every time he touches the ball, but we also want to be smart. We never want to put our offense in a bad position. So it's kind of a constantly changing thing that we try to always make sure we're on the same page with, and attack when we can, but be smart about it and not hurt ourselves either.
Dave, one more.
I'll be real quick here, Braden. You just mentioned that Fox needs to be better holding. Were holds an issue with either of the long misses that Matt Prater had?
No, I think Prater would be the first one to tell you that, if the ball's down on the spot, he expects to make it. So I think all 3 of those guys, they have great chemistry together, and they know that they all rely on one another. So, I'm not going to get into specifics, but I think we would just leave it at all 3 of them could have been better on that play. They know that. Just like I talked about net punting, taking 11 guys, kicking field goals is the same way, and it's led by the 3 specialists, all being perfect, and none of the 3 of them were perfect on that play. So they've all got to be better, and we will be here on Sunday.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thanks, Braden. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.